Welcome, everybody. Tonight, we've got a special one of our participants from Project Healing Waters Omaha. Bill Klumper is going to be tying a special fly. I have absolutely no idea what it is, but Bill refers to these as his FrankenFlies. They're made with all different kinds of materials that are strange and wonderful. So without any further discussion, let me just, Bill, I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you.
Okay, this is
And
my little work area. Go ahead.
you got it. It's all yours.
Hey, thank you. First, everyone, appreciate being here. Most of these materials I've never played with, so let's see what happens, right? So it's kind of, I call it a fly on the fly, but just to add a little bit of levity to this, I think everyone will remember this. This is the Mr. Bill show. Oh, no. So now that we've had our levity, what I'm going to be doing is I was presented with a series of challenges by John. And one of them was to use something called foam backer rod. Okay, and it was mentioned, probably what was it, about a month and a half ago or something. And then, I saw something called wool roving. Well, maybe I can use that. It may work. It may stink. Who knows? And then Al, in one of his presentations, introduced the Pro wrap, right? It's a very, very thin foam. It's got a little bit of iridescence to it, where the uh, foam was cut, right? And so, really, the first thing I had to think about, and so I really did this a little bit before I started here, so I'm kind of cheated is the foam backer rod's about 3/8 of an inch. And if you can see, I got to be really careful. I'm going to hide the gap of my hook and I won't be able to have a hookup. And so I kind of had two choices. I looked at a size 6 streamer hook, right? A TMC 93, 95. I bought these earlier. Or I could go to an MFC 3XL size 2, which is basically one honking hook, right? So I'm going to try this hook first and I'm going to chuck it up. I'm going to see if I'm tight enough and go from there. I am kind of doing an extended reach tonight because I'm not in a normal close tight in position. So I've got my hook set. Everything's ready to go. I use all sorts of magnets on my base to keep everything in track. I'm going to start a thread base. I'm going to go about, 3 eye lengths back, and that's going to be important, okay? Because what I'm going to be using for this fly, okay, are a number of different components. And one of the ideas here is, okay, what's my assembly? And obviously, whenever
Bill,
you read, yeah.
Bill, can you move the thing in the back to the left? The stack, yeah, that no, not that the box is holding all the materials. It's right in
Oh,
line with them. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Good.
okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Sorry about that. Thank you. So I did that, and then I says, well, foam, and this came something that was mentioned when they were making hackle folders, out of foam, something that had been introduced in Al's thing, and hey, make a line. And so something I had noticed with the foam is, and this stuff's been sitting in my garage for years, it had gotten twisted somehow. So it kind of made this little like beady thing. So I said, well, can I use this? So what I did is you can take the foam, right, and you can start twisting it, and you can make yourself a little foam body, just like that. And sometimes they'll want to bounce back on you, and you just got to twist it a little bit more, and you'll kind of hear it pop, some of the bubbles, and you start making yourself a little foam leader like that. And so it gives you a little bit of an indentation for a body. So how long do I want this thing to be? Well, I'm going to go about right there. you know, that's about half the length of the hook. My luck, this stuff won't want to play right, and I'll have to go do this in a different manner. Now, you can glue this stuff, and this is what I learned. This was mentioned by Al. You can glue this stuff. You can take this stuff and you can attach it. And so got a choice. I can split this thing and make it go, right? So I'm going to try just wrapping it on top of the hook and just see what happens. It just may make a big bubble, on top of the hook. But let's see what it decides to do. Now, a couple of my material lists, I've got the foam, I've got a set of bead eyes down here, and I got some little pom-poms. Okay, so again, all sorts of different things here to play with. So let's see what this does. Oh, by the way, don't use good scissors when cutting foam. It kills it. So I got these little cheap $2 whisk kind of clips, my wife got from Amazon, for cutting sewing stuff. Let's see if I can leave myself a little tag there and create myself a little bullet. Now, the idea here is possibly to create a minnow who has its swim bladder possibly damaged, right? I'm going to go back. And the next thing I want to do is since I'm already ahead of myself and, don't want to get too wrapped up, is I'm going to actually put a little bit, and this is all I got for color, is I'm going to put just a little bit of yellow spinning deer hair. Okay, it's a patch that I picked up for my Christmas money because I want something to hang out past the end of this and the wool roving. So I'm going to take a little piece of deer hair. I'm going to cut it close, and then that'll probably make it maybe a little bunch about that wide, maybe a little bit less. Clean it up and cut it from the pinch. Okay, that's cut. As always, you whisk out the fur, whisk out all the loose pieces, because there's always lots of loose pieces. And then, as Al would say, and we've talked about it many times, that you get all the short stuff out. And actually, I almost have a taper. Whoops, I got one short one in. A couple short ones. This. Good. You do want a tapered tail. And with this, you want to do your pinch wrap. So I got to twist my thread, so I'll decide to follow for the pinch wrap. I would like it to be on top. I'm going to go really, really gentle because I really don't want this guy flare that much. Okay. But I do want a little bit of flare on this because I want it to help hold up the wool roving. Okay. So then come back here and I'm going to tighten it down and I'm going to swim it. Let's see if I can do this without cutting my thread. Use a feature of my rotary vine. They're good for something. And oh, by the way, please, audience, chime in, suggest techniques, tips. Hey, this is a better way to do this, because this is what this is all about. Okay, so I've got this wrapped up. Now, next thing I've got to do is I want to build a body. Okay, and so now I've got my little nubbin cut. And so I'm going to take this little nubbin, and if you'll notice, it's going to fill up a good chunk of the body, doesn't it? So this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I'm going to hold it, I'm going to pinch it, bring it in, make a pinch wrap, and I'm going to take and I'll pull straight up. Okay, I captured it. Good. Now, the next thing I want to do here is I want to take this white foam. Typically, and it's been taught and many times, as you tie, what you want to do is, what goes on last goes on first. So this is going to be an experiment here, okay? And I'm just going to fold it over, right? And I'm going to tie it back here a ways, okay? The next item that I'm going to grab is again, something I never tried doing before, but using two different, oops, everything's all over, two different pieces of wire. Okay, so I got two pieces of lime green wire. Okay, the idea here is to possibly, and I got to cut just a few little errand hairs out of the way. Okay, those are good. I like. Okay, now I'm going to try to make an X, so my X crosses here. At least that's the idea. So I'm going to wrap one wire, get my fingers in the right place. I'm going to wrap one wire on the top, and I want it sitting right there. Okay. Typically, you will take and you will helicopter it. I have to be careful. I don't want to get too thick. There's my one wire there. Use my handy dandy beret as a material clip. I'm going to roll it over. And I'm going to tie on the other thing. And I do notice here that I got some of my deer hair a little bit on the other side. But for the first try, let's see what we end up. Red pork wrap. Bring it over. Okay. One thing you don't want to do is what I just did, is I just put it. Now I'm going to take myself, I'm going to very, very, very loosely. Now I see it's rolling, so that's not going to work, right? Now I can do the Bagley method. That's going to roll on me. So the way to handle that is Mr. and Mrs. Super Glue, assuming I remember where I put it. I'm going to super glue this thing. And hopefully I don't super glue my fingers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my thread base back. Everybody okay with me gluing my fingers together?
I'm sorry, Bill, what'd you say?
Everybody okay with me gluing my fingers together?
I'm more concerned about gluing your vise.
Yeah, I could do that too. Oh, guess what? Super glue doesn't want to hold on this. This is super glue. The green stuff. It is the gel. That's good. Okay, let's do that. Okay, gives me a little bit of an awkward body, something I didn't really want to have looking that way. Okay, let's take this stuff from Al. Let's bring her across like this. And I want to build up the bottom just a little bit. So it's not, in other words, it has more of a natural shape to it. Now, I'm going to start to flatten it out. Because as I go across the top, I don't want to make it very, very thick. This is a way to help hide a color, like the gray. Looks like that idea is going to work maybe. It would be interesting to see what it does when it's in the water. All right. There a little bit, excuse me. 1, 2, 3 wraps. Excuse me there. Make sure I don't cut. And there we go, into the waste pile. Okay, part way there. So I'm going to take this rib, I'm going to make a full wrap, and I'm going to see if I can make space wrap. Okay. I'm gonna cut my little piece all the way. And see if I can helicopter it on. If I can't, then I'm just gonna it's taking too much. So I have just a cheap little pair of wire nippers that I use for this purpose. And okay, we're done with that. Now I wrap that way. I'm gonna try to counter wrap it. And if I went this way, I wonder what happens if I counter wrap. Well, I get an F. Yes, that's what I'm looking
Hey, his name over there.
for. Little misspacing there. Okay, let me bring myself forward. That's one. Do it so it's nice. Again, I'm kind of building a big head here, so I'm going to have a problem here with this head. So I'm going to have to do some buildup, and so I'm going to be crowding the eye. So one item is probably not going to go. Oops, using good scissors. Okay, that's the next piece done. Now I've got two colored pieces of feather. I can go this way, potentially. Okay, highlight it, and you'll see that white body between there. My other choice was potentially use something like this. So, audience choice. What do you think? Use something like this. Use this color and get yourself a little bit of green behind it. A little bit of the yellow tail. What does everyone think? Yay, nay? Aye.
Hey, Bill, I'd go with the brown. It gives you better contrast.
And that's what we'll do. Let's see now. Probably would like it. I want my feathers to be fairly uniform. I want the shiny side out, right? Because this is going to be moving through the water. It's going to straighten itself out and it's going to flutter. So I need about that much. So I'm going to strip back some and very carefully expose the stem. Put it in my junk pile. Okay. What's this guy look like? Looks roughly about the same size. I don't think fish will know about it. I might know about it, but fish don't really care. What I'm trying to do is feathers are slightly different in length, but roughly the barbules, if you notice, have about the same size. Okay. So I'm going to now tie this in place. Okay. And I'm going to do shiny side out and hanging down. So as we've been shown many, many, many times, and again, I've got a thick head here, and I got a way I'm going to handle that. Am I on the side that I want? Yeah, but guess what? I am too high up. And I've already got some problems. If you notice, my line's starting to thread. So this was kind of really interesting play with because it was kind of stiff when I first got a hold of it. Okay, what I'm trying to do is trying to get her down on the side. Did I get her on the side? No, I got her twisted a little. Okay, that is going to fold down exactly the way I want. Okay. I'm going to start building a little bit of a head here earlier. Okay, I'm going to cut this guy. Again, this isn't fly on the fly. I'm just trying to make something as we go. I did get some crosses underneath there. Oh, see, I've got a problem here. I got a piece of the wire, and if that gets into my thread, that will ruin the thread and will cause it to fail. Okay. Probably could have done this with a 70, didn't probably. Okay. Look about right. Now, huh, almost made myself a wing, didn't I? And that kind of interesting. Right. Okay. Now, I'm starting to get a fat head. Most flies, you don't want a fat head. It just adds weight, changes hydrodynamics, and a whole. So now I basically looks like two little sets of streamers. Now, this is called wool roving. It's natural merino wool. You can color it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it really, really wispy like this. Okay. And you're supposed to unroll it and you take a bunch of it and you tug on it. And basically what you do is you create yourself. Okay. All I want is something really, really, really wispy. Okay. I just want to apply over over a small area of the fly. Now, I probably should use yak hair, okay? Because I do have some yak hair, which to me looked really interesting. I watched something on fly fish food with it. And this stuff, if you notice, it takes a lot to get it to separate, okay? So what I want to do is take and card it. I want really, 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 really thin, wispy. Oops, excuse me, gentlemen, people. It's almost like playing with dubbing. I'm going to use two different clumps of it. Okay. Then my bobbin. I can get myself a pink wrap on the side. How do I look? Who knows what this will do? Could be interesting. Could be an epic fail. Get myself a little bit more wool rolling. And you don't want it too thick because otherwise what it'll do is it'll camouflage everything, right? And since it's wool, it may have the tendency to mask. So that's just something there to consider when working with this stuff. You can use it for making dubbing. They make quite a lot of colors of it. You can also make it kind of waterproof if you use stuff like what you find for the Kiwi Camp Dry. And unfortunately, my bottles are upstairs. How do I look? Nope, that did not look very good. Did not go the way I wanted. A little bit high.
Is that really that? I mean, how big is that?
What do you mean? Hey, is this
Your
Jesse?
lure, your fly look. Yes.
Yeah, my flies is called a streamer.
I mean,
Okay. Yeah, it's about 3 inches long. Now, this wool webbing may decide to disintegrate. I'll have to see what happens when I fly tie with it. When I fish with it, and stuff like that. And so what it's designed to do is I'm hoping it floats, right? And with the hope of float is that it will then turn around and I'm going to add this guy to it. Okay. Actually, I'm going to put it. Oh, I did a really poor job underneath here. Right? Sorry about that. I'll probably pull it out. Now, the question is, since this is going to be seen from right side up, why not go do it this way? This is something.
you're doing a great job. You haven't broke anything
yet. Nah, I got a clump. See that? See, I got a rise there, Jesse? That makes the thing not set properly. Okay. So what I can do is, oh, remember, I'm also using a really, really strong thread called 210 denier, but if you notice, it started splitting. So what I'm doing is now I'm building up a thread base, right? So I have something for my head here. So I'm building myself a little flat dam. So I got something I can work on. This is the sign and mark of a very novice fly tire. Okay. Because more thread you use, more weight you got. And yeah. Just for the fun of it. Right? Okay. Now, I'm going to do something. Oops. I'm going to do a quick half. Okay. Now, got two interesting things. Found something called hackle flash. I'm going to wrap it around it. Give it just a little bit of extra flash. May make it look gaudy. What do you think? This color? Or does everyone think it should be, excuse me, the lighter color? What do you think? Not hearing anything from the audience.
Don't everybody speak up at once.
What do you think, John?
I think the one in your right hand is going to match
I
up
hold
good with the feathers.
My tongue's so off.
Okay.
That's just what I was thinking, John, that the darker
I'll
one.
actually agree with
feather
John.
color out.
This is something from Hairline. It's called Hackle Flash. And I found it on sale during Christmas. So everything I'm buying, I found on sale. Okay. Because, you buy what you can and you buy it when it's on sale. I'm going to probably give this 3 or 4 good little wraps. And what it does is if you notice, it has a thread to it. And I'm going to bar the thread just like you would do when you're working with chenille. Okay. So let's just see. I'm going to crowd the eye. And that's again, that happened. And I didn't want it to happen in this case. I got my proportions off a little bit. Okay.
Bill, you might want to try tying it in behind the bead eyes if you're crowding the eye.
Oh, behind here?
Yeah, it's just an idea. I don't know.
Yeah, let's go for it. That would make a lot of sense. Okay, I've got the ability to get a good pinch wrap. Okay, get it that way. Get it in. Yeah, I got a good pinch wrap. Okay.
Bill, can you change the angle of your camera? Because all I see is your hand mostly.
Well, I'm kind of limited in what I can do. I'm sorry, Jesse. I'm going to make about 4 wraps. You want to, and what I should have done is I should have been palmering this, right? So that it comes out around. Now I got a nice shiny little collar. What do you think? Tie it off here, John, and be done with it?
I'd go one more wrap, maybe 2. I see some empty spaces.
Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to unwrap it because I could palmer it.
There you, there you go. And Jesse, it's really, really hard to tie when your camera is sitting behind, when you're trying to tie between the fly and the camera. So
This is an adventure, Jesse.
Oh no, I'm super appreciative, but your descriptions are great. I just you know, a lot everybody else there knows what you're talking about, and I'm trying to, you know, hold on to the tail and ride the horse.
Oh, hey, by the way, if you're at the Victory Apartment, I've got the stuff for you. Now, should I tie off here and make 1 wrap in front and call it quits, John? What do you think?
yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I'm going to tie off, making sure I don't trap too much. And who knows what this thing is going to do? This could be really interesting in life. Yeah, what I'm using is I'm using my sewing stiletto so I can make a really big half hitch just to have some kind of lock here because my luck, everything would fall apart between now and then. 1 more wrap, and I'm going to, excuse me, I'll bump the camera again. Bring my wrap forward. Now, I'm going to go under. I'm going to make just a slight little collar in front of, oh, stuff. You're difficult stuff to work with. Huh, interesting. Yeah. What do you think? Stop? Am I making too big a mess? That's enough. Excuse me. Yeah, kind of like you do with regular tackle. When you're getting ready to tie it off, you'll want to use your fingers and capture the thread and pull them back. There's my line, thread. Let's just see if I can some kind of a clean head here. Ooh, am I really wrapped that far forward on the head? Yep. Get myself off the eye. I think I'm a little bit on the eye. So, work my way back a little bit. Now, that can happen too when you make too much of a thread dam in front of it. You can get yourself to the position where you're caught with your own thread. I'll clean that up. All right. Where did I hide my whip tool? Well, I might have to do a half hitch here. Let me go see when the heck I hid my whip tool. Oh, there it is. Well, dream went one way, reality went another. But this is the first attempt that I've tried making this kind of a fly with these materials. And yeah. So I appreciate everybody bearing with me. Next one will be better. Oh, well, there's a FrankenFly.
Well, Bill, I'd say you met the challenge quite admirably.
If it's okay for me to comment all the way from Idaho, that is the most innovative use of backer rod I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to be incorporating some of that into my own flies.
Oh, okay.
And for everybody else, I know Al knows it, but for everybody else, Bill has only been hasn't been tying a year. He tied earlier when he was younger, but he's been away from it for a long time. So it's only been probably 9 months that he's been tying with Healing Waters. So I'd say he's progressing quite nicely, as they say.
So
That's an amazing fly, Bill.
My original idea was, and I need to really use a longer hook, was to get a bead head on it and put some lead weight with it. And by putting the lead weight, what I was hoping to create was something that looked like a wounded minnow with a air bladder that was damaged. You know how they kind of swim like this?
Yeah.
At the top of the surface. Now, next one I'm going to make is I'm going to use yak hair, because that doesn't pull nearly as much as this wool roving will. But again, and then things I could do different is one less wrap here, so that has a little bit of a better thing. And my head is messy, guys. Holy bucket.
Well, what I'm really interested in, Bill, is how well it fishes.
Oh, I'm going to fish it. I'm going to throw it
Yeah, I
out
wanted
there.
that. I'm curious to see how it acts in the water once it gets in there. The only other thing I would say is, instead of the wool roving, I would think I would try Arctic wool, Arctic sheep.
Oh, I don't have any of that. But okay.
Oh, I got plenty of it. I'll let you have some.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to try it. I got yak to try to do this. I was going to make some saltwater streamers, right?
Yeah.
For my buddy, but I didn't have it broken out yet. What I'm doing is I'm cleaning up because
That might work for redfish down in Texas on your trip down there.
it might. I need to, again, if you notice, my hook eye isn't perfectly clear, right? So there's a little bit of thread that got forward into it. But again, this was just on the fly, just trying to proportion and try to make something.
Very nice.
John, why would you use the different
I'm sorry, what?
instead of the wool? Why would you use whatever you said instead of the wool that he used?
Mainly because it's natural and it probably wouldn't, Bill had said there was a possibility that this thing could disintegrate in the water. The Arctic sheep won't.
And
Okay.
And
The
I
other
think it
thing
floats
is-
a little bit better too than wool, and it won't have that, the matting problem. Just an idea. I don't know.
the other thing is, and I didn't bring it with me. I found out if you take stuff like this, because this is still usable, you take a thin little piece of cardboard, you clip it, and then you just snag it onto this, and then you don't lose it. Then you can throw it into your pile if you want to reuse it. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
You know,
I'll show you
so
what let me show you something, Bill, that I've started using. Let me highlight me here just a second. Okay. See these right here?
yeah, what are they?
Hair clips.
Oh yeah, I've got some of those.
Yeah. They work really, really good, and they're a lot cheaper than hackle pliers that Al uses to hold his materials. And I found these work pretty well, so.
I